Out of all the running shoes I've ever created videos on YouTube, the Nike Streakfly 2 might be the most lightweight shoe I have ever reviewed. As you can see, I have splashed the cash and got myself a pair of the new Nike Streakfly 2. So in today's video, I'm going to do my first ever run wearing these shoes, and I will give you my initial reaction. So make sure you watch to the end of this video, and if you enjoy the content, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, let's get into the video. First of all, before we go out for my run wearing the Streakfly 2s, let's look at some of the facts and figures for the shoe. So as I am recording this video, the Streakfly 2 was released roughly about 8 months ago now in March of 2025. And it comes in with a retail price of £165, which definitely does put it in the competitive market. I made the mistake of not realising this, and the Streakfly 2 is completely different to the original Streakfly 1. So what is the main difference between the Streakfly 2 and the Streakfly 1? Well, the main difference is that this bad boy now has a full-length carbon plate in the shoe, just like the Vaporfly and just like the Alphafly. Many experts will tell you that you shouldn't do training on the track doing hard workouts with the carbon plated shoes, and instead just save them for the race days. And well, many of my friends who had the Streakfly 1 would use that on the track nights, and well, with the Streakfly 2, it is advised that you don't do that. In fact, Nike have put the racing symbol on the Streakfly 2, so the intended purpose, it seems to be for racing. The Streakfly 2 comes in with a weight of 128 grams, which I think is incredible given how much is in the shoe. We've already mentioned the full-length carbon plate, but we've also got Zoom X in the Streakfly 2. So that does give it a bit of responsiveness to the shoe itself, but I think because it's so lightweight, it is a shoe which you do not want to be using for longer distance racing. So I would stick to using the Streakfly 2 between the 1 mile and the 5k distance. Another fact to add about the Streakfly 2 is that it has a 4mm drop from the heel to the toe in the stack height, and from what I've seen on other YouTubers is that this shoe you are forced onto your toes. So I think if you're a heel striker, you will want to buy this with caution, but we will be testing that out in today's video and putting the theory into practice. So what I will be doing this morning whilst wearing Streakfly 2 is a 3000 meter time trial, because it is right smack bang in the middle between the distances which you're wanting to be wearing this shoe for. It's between the 1 mile and the 5k distance, so we're going to have a bit of speed and a bit of endurance in today's run. So yeah, I'm going to go get changed, we're going to put the shoe on, and then after the time trial I'll give you my initial reactions to what I think with the Streakfly 2. My first reactions putting the Streakfly 2s on is you can really feel the foam, and even just walking in them, you can feel them pushing you onto your toes. They feel like they definitely will be quite an aggressive shoe, but I think that could be a good thing because it can force you to go faster and it can force you forwards in a way. The material of the upper also feels very loose. It doesn't feel like it doesn't have much structure to it, and it doesn't feel very firm. But overall it feels like a very bouncy shoe, and I'm looking forward to running in this.
A few moments later.
Alright guys, so we're in the car on our way to the venue for the time trial this morning, and one thing to add before we get going is that my 3km PB is 10 minutes and 23 seconds, and well, that was set quite a long while ago now, so there is the possibility that I could beat that today because I have improved an awful lot since then. But we are on the streets and it will be unofficial, so it won't count as an official PB, but it's nice to give it a go and see how close I can get to beating that time. This morning it is quite a sunny day. The temperature is between 4 to 5 degrees, so it is quite cold, so the gloves will be out, but there's no rain. It doesn't look like there's any wind either, so it is pretty decent conditions for running. Alright guys, so we have arrived at the venue for the time trial. I'm now going to go for a 2km jog. I wouldn't usually go for my warm-up wearing the shoes which I'd wear when I was doing a race, but because this is the first time and we're testing it out for the video, I am today. Alright guys, so the 3 km time trial is over, and wow, the Streakflies, they're a very unique shoe, because even on the warm-up I was trying to slow myself down because I was feeling myself being pushed onto my toes, and that can be a good thing because it propels you forwards and you can feel the carbon plate in there pushing you forwards. It's a really bouncy shoe and I was getting a lot of speed in there. However, the one disadvantage for me is the structure in the upper half, because it's very flimsy, and well, there's also a bit of a lack of support on your legs. So if you are to pick this for a racing shoe, I would go between the 1 mile to the 5k. Definitely don't go anything above that, because it doesn't have the cushion on the shoe which you get in the Vaporflies. And in fact, even for the 5k, I think I'd still pick the Vaporflies over that. But it is definitely a decent shoe. And well, the thing is, I don't really race the 1 mile to 3k that often, and experts will say it's a carbon plated shoe, don't use it for training on the track. But I think I will see myself using this on the track quite often, because just because they advise me not to doesn't mean I can't. So yeah, if I ever do a 1 mile time trial, a 3,000 meter, I definitely use the Streakfly. 5k, anything above that, that's either your Vaporflies or your Alphaflies. But yeah, track workouts, I will see myself using the Streakfly for that as well. For the time trial itself, I did get a PB for the 3,000 meters, even though it's unofficial. I just about snuck under 10 minutes with a 3k split in 9 minutes and 59 seconds. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. I probably wouldn't have got it if I didn't have that extra bit of propulsion from the Streakfly. But we are now going to go home, and I'll give you a quick summary for the shoe when we get home. Alright guys, so I've had an awfully busy afternoon, but we're here now with the Streakfly 2, and I will give you a quick summary of the shoe and my initial reactions. The Streakfly 2, it is very aggressive. It pushes you onto your toes, so if you're a hill striker, I wouldn't recommend you to have this shoe, but if you're not, this can potentially be a great shoe. The carbon plate, you can feel it is really bouncy. And I think this shoe would be great for the middle distance events like the 1 mile, 3,000 meter. But anything above that, I wouldn't recommend the Streakfly 2. So the 5k, the 10k, half marathon, that is more where you want to be going for the Vaporfly or the Alphafly. And the reason for that is this, because there is minimal support, like the stability. This is a really thin material in the upper, and I feel this can potentially be quite hazardous for your ankles. You've got to be very careful, because this could potentially lead to an ankle injury if you've got weak ankles. So yeah, I definitely recommend you to do your calf raises. And now, despite this being a carbon plated shoe, I might be starting to use this on the track for track workouts, hard effort workouts, because the thing is, I don't really usually do the 1 mile, the 3,000 meter events, so therefore I'd have limited use of the Streakfly 2. So I feel like I will see myself starting to implement this on the track workouts. But yeah, I will be wearing the shoe more often on the tracks, and I will be making a full review in the next few weeks. So if you're looking forward to seeing that video, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.